I was out with my cousin and a few friends, and Rob walked into the nightclub, and my cousin mentioned the fact that he was kind of hot property at their work at Toys R Us. And yeah, I just remember kind of glancing over, and that was the first time I actually saw him. And then we ended up at Tina Park. The same time, I was with my friends and he was with his friends, and my cousin again got in touch with him when we first arrived to help with all our luggage and alcohol. And him and his friend Ryan, or more commonly known as Elf, came along and helped us. And yeah, we just got chatting kind of a lot that weekend, spent a lot of time together. There was one night, I can't remember which band we'd been to see, quite a few drinks involved, and he came back to our tent for a while and we just sat up chatting for ages. I think the following weekend he had his leaving party because he was just about to move to Sweden, and I was working at a pub nearby, and my cousin texted saying her battery was low, so she gave me Rob's number in case she couldn't get in touch. So I went to the party. Everybody had been drinking, I was sober, drove home. And on the way home, I remember thinking to myself, because I knew you had my number, I hope you text me. I don't know why, just because we'd spent quite a few kind of days, conversations and things. And yeah, by the time I got home to my mum's house, I had a text from him. I kind of just started from there, so we kind of text back and forward, and then he suggested that we would go on a date before he headed off to Sweden, to which I agreed. And yeah, we went to see Toy Story 3 at the Odeon. And he showed up wearing grey joggy bottoms and a grey hoodie, which was quite amusing. And he told me I was overdressed because I had jeans and a top on. Yeah, about a year and a half later we moved in together at a little flat in Kirkcaldy, and then 2 years later he got the call to come down here. So that was kind of our start to our journey. I knew, like, really quickly that he was somebody I wanted in my life. I don't think I would ever have kind of thought it would lead to everything that we've had. It's been so amazing, but yeah, it was just a really nice, easy kind of start to what ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. So yeah, the Brentford stuff, kind of late summer 2014, he took a few calls and started talking about it, and I remember thinking, this is actually going to go somewhere, this is serious, he's going to move. And it wasn't that I didn't think I was going to with him, but I think it was just, there was just stuff happening, and I was just kind of having to sit back and wait and see where it kind of took us. And then when he mentioned Brentford, and I remember sitting in our living room one night and saying, where actually is Brentford? And we realised it in London, and I thought, oh, that's quite cool, like going down to London, something different. I don't ever remember feeling scared about it. It was an exciting time, but also just kind of surreal. I think after kind of all this stuff with the football, and he'd been in and out, and he'd been a bit, you know, work with Celtic, work with SFA and things, and then this kind of came up. And I think, again, until anything actually physically happened, it was just hard to kind of get too ahead of yourself. So yeah, we packed up the flat, and we had a little red Corsa at the time, and we stuffed it full of like duvet cover and clothes and pillows, because he didn't know where he was going to stay, or, you know, it was just really kind of that whole innocence of youth thing, that he was just driving down for this job that he really desperately wanted, and we were just going to make it work as we went along. I remember waving him off that Monday morning. He left probably about 4 in the morning, and the two of us cried our eyes out because we didn't want to be apart, but we knew, we had a conversation before that saying we didn't want to not go for it, because I didn't want him to resent me for not taking that opportunity, because the only reason he was going to stay was for me, and I didn't want to be that person. So I said, if it's meant to be, you go down there and we'll figure out a way. Yeah, again, even talking about it, going back, it just all feels really surreal, because we were just dead open to it. It was exciting. It was exactly what he needed, what he deserved, because he'd been through tough times, and I think at one point he really gave up on the idea that football was going to be his career, and that was really hard to watch somebody he loved and cared about so much, and the passion they have for something, to then realise that that might not work out for him. So it was just all worth it. And then I came down to visit him, I think, the following weekend after he'd been down. He was getting on great, he was making friends, he was really enjoying his time here. And yeah, came down to visit, and we met some friends in London. We went to a little bar in Soho, and I got chatting to one of the girls I used to go to school with, and one of her friends down here had a opening for a job with Arup, and was going to put in a word for me. So within a couple of weeks after that, I got word from Arup, they were going to interview me, so I came back down again 2 weekends after that and spent the weekend with Robert. Didn't tell my family. Went for the interview on the Monday and got the job Monday night. So as I was flying back to go back home, I knew it was the last time I was going to have to leave him. We were going to be able to then kind of set up something down here. So yeah, he came down probably to start with Brentford about October time, and I was down by mid-December, and we'd got a little flat, and it was lovely. It was just dead exciting. So I think even though we probably didn't say it aloud to each other, I think we knew that it was going to work either way. But luckily for us, it just turned into the best thing that ever happened to us. Sorry. Sorry. We just created our own little bubble down here, and it was just the best thing ever. We just went from strength to strength. It was so nice to see him rebuild his confidence in football, and he was just so happy down here and working for Brentford, and he just loved being somewhere different, somewhere new, somewhere he could kind of create himself again in the industry. And to be able to come down here and just have the two of us and not have to worry about anything, and not even, and I think probably for the first time not have to worry too much financially, because it had been a struggle with when we've been at home. But again, you don't think about these things because you just take it as it is and you just live within your means. So we came down here and just had the loveliest time, and you know, living in Ealing, we just, all these restaurants on our doorstep and all these, you know, nice things to do, and having London, you know, 30 minutes away, we just had a ball. Like it was just the most exciting time for us, and we just went from strength to strength. And within probably just over a year, he took me to the Shard for my 31st birthday, and he proposed. And it was just one of the best days of my life. I was completely caught unaware. So we went to Antigua, went out, I think about the 4th of November, and got married on the 7th. We stayed there for about a week, and then we went to Miami for a few days after that, which was amazing. And again, we never had the opportunity to do things like this before, so to be able to go to the Caribbean and get married and kind of experience this paradise, and then to go to, I think it's the first time that Robert had been to the States, and we just both loved it. It was just super chilled, super relaxed, and just had a really good time. I think I remember him telling me that he was texting Andy Scott, because I think he'd no longer been out in Miami, so they were comparing notes about what to do and where to go and things like that. But you can imagine that he was still on his phone a lot at this point, even though we were getting married and things and people knew he was away, but there were still the phone calls about work and whatever. But it never bothered me. Like I would complain to him, because that's what you do when you're a girlfriend or a wife. But it was just because he was passionate about what he was doing and he just cared about it. So it was always part of our lifestyle. But there was nothing wrong with it whatsoever. So early on in our relationship, I remember him explaining to me kind of the situation with his heart stuff, and that he hadn't been given a proper diagnosis, but there was a few issues going on there. I don't know, again, looking back, I think he was really brave about it all. I think he didn't like a fuss. He didn't like to talk about it because he didn't fully understand it himself. I don't think, because he was never given a proper diagnosis, it wasn't something that it was easily explained to other people. But when we moved in together, there was a few nights he would wake up and he would have quite bad palpitations. There were a few times we ended up driving to the A&E. That really, really knocked his confidence. I think he got a massive fright that time. I think despite going through everything he'd went through and everything his parents had done to kind of get him checked and down to London when he was a young boy and everything and whatever, but that seemed to certainly be the worst time we'd had. And I think being in the hospital and being kept in and hooked up to all these things and getting told potentially we were going to restart his heart and everything, that he just was petrified, and he didn't want me to leave the hospital. He didn't want to be on his own. He just wasn't in a good place, and it was really tough, really tough. He would just sit and cry with me about how scared he was, and I again, just wanted to tell him I was going to be okay because that's what I believed. And after that kind of episode, I remember sitting here with him and I promised him that I wouldn't let anything happen to him because I genuinely believed he was getting the best care. And yeah, I still hard kind of just now to kind of accept how it ended up like this, because you know there was a lot of signs and a lot of checks and a lot of scans, and you know I just still struggle to figure out why it ended up how we did. But that's why it's really important to talk about it, because you know it's sadly not something that it's not as uncommon as people might like to think, and raising awareness for CRY and just make people aware that they can get themselves checked out, that it's really important. And I wish that it was something that everybody was entitled to do, because CRY screenings, it's for, you know, through raising money and things like that, but it's just really important.